Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be doing things a little differently. I am going to tell you guys all about my trip to Kauai. It was fantastic. We're going to go through what makeup I brought, and we're actually going to put on some of the makeup that I brought with me so you can see the type of like super easy, fast looks that I do while on vacation. And we're also going to talk about the traveling and what I did as soon as I got back. So literally traveling, we're on the East Coast, so traveling from the East Coast to Kauai, Hawaii, takes forever. So it took us 20 hours between like getting to the airport and our flight getting delayed and all that to get home. And then we had to drive back home from the airport. So we got home like, I think like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So the first thing I did was shower. And then I put on my LED face mask. So that portion of the video is sponsored. Thank you, CurrentBody, for sponsoring that. And they actually gifted me this mask several months back, and I've been using it since then. You're supposed to use it a few times a week. Honestly, I'm terrible about doing things like that. Even though it's only 10 minutes, I use it once or twice a week. So, we're going to take a look at that. I have before and after shots, close-ups of my skin, so you can really see the progress that, this mask does. And we're going to talk about why I personally love to use that right after a trip or during other times in my life. So let's go ahead and get started with the makeup. And this is just, a makeup bag, but this is, for some reason, my favorite. I'm not really sure why. There's nothing special about it. I got it from Sephora like at least 15 years ago. It's Peter Som. This is back when Sephora used to give away these like nice bags for like free. So it's kind of padded. And this is how I pack my bag. So you can see I have a microfiber cloth here, and I pack minimal amounts of makeup. So in my microfiber cloth, this is where I keep brushes. I knew going to Hawaii, being beachy, having a ton of sunscreen on all the time, and me being very fair skinned, I reapply my sunscreen very frequently. So like every hour or so while I am out in the sun. So I didn't bring a ton of makeup, and I packed minimally. So I brought my Ray Morris travel set of brushes, and I haven't even washed these since, but you can see they come in this nice case. This is reversible, so you can have either the black side or the gray side up, and it's a magnetic frame. And I like this for traveling because if I want to wash and dry my brushes while I'm gone, I can hang them upside down to dry them. Plus, they're easy to use. These are all synthetic, so I can use them with any type of product. I don't have to worry about them. And I didn't have to worry about anything getting broken while traveling. So that was my main concern. I usually also would toss in maybe another, like a foundation brush or something like that, but I didn't. This is all I brought brush-wise. And you can see I used all of the brushes except these two. So this is the 8.5 and the 12. And, I could have used them, but I just didn't need to. I didn't wear makeup every day. I wore it to dinner most nights. But for the most part, I stayed pretty makeup free. So in the morning, we'd get up, I would lather sunscreen over everybody, and then I would also top my sunscreen with this. This was actually recommended to me by my friend Lori. This is the Color Science Sun Forgettable Total Protection Face Shield Flex. And it's SPF 50, but it's tinted. So this one I have is fair. We're just gonna put a little bit of this on, but you can see that it starts off white, and you can see like these little like color beads in there. Do you see those? Let's see here. So, sorry, I'm out of breath because I just ran up and down the stairs like 3 times. I had to take a pause because I couldn't find something. But anyway, so I would put on 2 layers of sunscreen. Then I put this on. And if I wear makeup, then I put on makeup. So this is the Flex. You can see it goes on kind of clear, but if you give it a minute, you can see the pigmentation on it, and, it will kind of oxidize a little bit. So let me put some on my hand here, just like a little dot here. We'll just spread it a little bit so you can kind of see Look at that. You can see it's already starting to turn with the reaction of my skin's temperature. I don't know for sure that it's temperature activated, but seems to be, at least with me. So for our trip, we stayed at the Grand Hyatt in Kauai, and I have to say it was stunning. First of all, they have 4 like tropical birds in the lobby. The girls love taking pictures with them. They even got stuffed animals of the bird, one of the birds, Duke. So super happy with that. And the property itself is stunning. They have all these pools. They have it's like a saltwater pool. That's kind of their claim to fame with it. And the saltwater pool is like a fake beach. So it has sand and it's very, very shallow. That was my youngest favorite part of the hotel. She absolutely loved that. They have what's called the lazy river, and you can like buy floats or rent floats and kind of go through this lazy river. It's not like slopes, so you're not really sloping on your own, but you know, it's a little canyon with waterfalls and stuff, and they have regular pools and everything too. So super awesome. The hotel was really, really nice. All right, so moving on, I also brought the Dior Natural Velvet Foundation 1.5N, and I decided to just use the sponge that it came with. So let's go ahead and put this on. Let me bring you in closer. So this sponge has 2 sides. This side here is a little bit rougher, more like a traditional flock sponge. And then we have a smoother side to kind of blend things out. So I'm just gonna put some of this on here. And again, you know, during the day, I usually just wore sunscreen because I would need to reapply, and I don't like reapplying my sunscreen on top of makeup. That's actually one of the things I always do for my skincare. If I have to reapply like sunscreen or touch up makeup, I always wash my face and start fresh. So occasionally you can't, and then I'll use like a powder sunscreen or something, but I find those, you know, they're not that effective. And yeah, so I just try to be cautious and always reapply freshly or make sure I don't have another product underneath. So that's it for the foundation. So let me take a second and show you the items that I brought with me. I brought the Viseart Paris Étoile palette, this one here, which I love this. I focus mostly on the neutral and the sparkly shades. I use this one more for dinner, the smokier colors. And then I also brought the Viseart Petit Four Lila palette. So I wore this one a ton, mostly these 2 shades here. And then what else did I bring? Highlighter, I brought the Givenchy Teint Couture Shimmer Powder. Love this one. And I brought 2 of the Chantecaille cheek shades. So I brought Laughter, Coral, and Grace, which is the Sea Turtle. So I wanted to have a couple of options, and these are nice, light, and easy to take with. Plus they have a mirror. And most of the time, which was true on this trip, I did have to do my makeup sitting in the bed using these little mirrors. So it's just easier. In addition, this is what else is in my bag. I have the Rephr eyelash curler. I just have a comb from Sephora, pair of nail clippers. I have a Sisley lipstick. This is 21 Rose Numea, and it's just one of the little sample sizes. I have to say, I don't think I ended up using this, but I always travel with one of those little samples. Have the Surratt Brow Gel in light brown, the Sisley Fido Lip Twist in 24, which is one of my go-to colors. I wore this one a lot. And the Hermes Lip Oil in Pattaya, which I also used a ton. I brought my Givenchy lip pencil in number 8 Parma Silhouette, and the Cali Ray mascara. So I always try to bring like a sample size mascara. These all worked very well. So we're going to go ahead and use those while I talk a little bit more about the trip. So let's start with the Lila's palette, and I'm just going to do a super basic look. We're going to start off with this matte taupe shade, and I'm going to use the 6.5 in the Ray Morris travel set. Just going to use exactly what I used there. So when we were going, you know, it took us 18 hours from the time we left our house till the time we got to the hotel. And there's a Costco right near the airport. So we did that first. Stopped at Costco, bought some water and stuff like that. and just like snacks to have in the hotel room. We checked in, it was late. So then we went to get some food. The girls were too tired. You know, we walked around and toured the hotel and stuff a little bit, but you know, it was kind of, everybody was tired with the time change. It's a 6-hour time difference for us going backwards. So they were really pretty tired. So we ended up going to this place called Keoki's Paradise for dinner. And we got these nachos that were fantastic. Kahlua pork nachos. Those were great. And then my daughters got hamburgers and they were obsessed with this burger for the entire trip. So now I'm going to go into this. This is with the Ray Morris 11. So we actually, I think we got it like 3 or 4 times for them during that trip. They're very picky eaters. So a lot of times we would go out to eat, and our friends were on the trip too. They didn't go with us per se, but they were there at the same time as us. And my daughters wouldn't really eat when we went out to eat, and we would have to get something for them afterwards, or they would eat like fruit or snacks. They're so picky. Although I can't complain. I've always been a picky eater myself. I'm not picky now, but as a child I was. So that would be basically it for my eyeshadow. And then I would go in with the number 16 brush to basically use one of the shades in here for liner. So let's go ahead and let's use this like deeper, well, you know what? Let's use this deep charcoal here. So anyway, that became one of our staple meals, the nachos and the burger for the girls. And then another staple meal for us was actually at a place called Kenji Burger. And there are 3 locations on Kauai. So we went there and kind of got obsessed with, they have a seafood burrito, which was really good. But what was really good were their taco trio. And it's like these 3 little like tacos, but the shells, they're not your traditional taco shell. I don't know. They tasted a little bit airier. They were fried shells though. But they were super, super nice and crispy. And one of the trios had this like, it was, you know, like ground beef type, but it was flavored differently than a traditional taco. And it had, I forget what kind of crema on top. That was good. But the best ones were the other 2. There was a salmon, and these were like, and then we had an ahi tuna, and they were just phenomenal. So really, really liked those. We got those a lot. Even just like if we were hungry, we would just like order that for like a snack without getting like a full meal because they were just that good. I actually have a picture of them here because my husband loved them so much. He took pictures. Ooh, more food. Just to mention some more food real quickly, because let's face it, who doesn't go on vacation for food, right? Malasadas, I mean, they're really a Portuguese donut that have been adopted in Hawaii, but they are this like super light and fluffy dough. And I guess the classic versions don't have anything in them. They can be rolled in sugar or rolled in cinnamon sugar. And then I guess the newer versions, a lot of them have a cream filling. You can get a whole bunch of different types. So my favorite was they just call it the custard style, which has more of a pastry cream filling in it, not like your typical Boston cream donut or anything like that. By the way, these are lighter and fluffier than most donuts. But you can also get like mango and forget what else, guava donuts and so forth. So they had all these different filling options, but you have to go early. By like 10 o'clock, they're all gone for the day. So Kauai Bakery was fantastic. And that's where we loved them. We did try another place, not so great. Kauai Bakery is where I would go. And they were just amazing. And they've won all these awards for them as well. But then the other thing would be the ice cream. So we actually went to a gelato place there that we became obsessed with a little bit too late in the trip. I wish we had found it right on like the first day, and we would have had it like every single day. But it's called Papalani Gelato, and they have all these great flavors. that were unique. Like there's one Papalani Pie, which was one of their flavors. My oldest daughter and I, we were both really obsessed with the pineapple gelato there. And, they have all these different like Hawaiian combinations with like Kona coffee and stuff like that as well. But of course they had regular flavors, which my youngest really likes. And half of their flavors are your traditional gelato, but then the other half they had were like a dairy-free sorbet. So they definitely have options if you're going with somebody who doesn't want dairy or, is looking for, vegan options. Moving on to blush, this is the deluxe kabuki. It's number 1 on here. So let's go in with the Grace shade here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this on and, really going super light with the makeup. So a few places that we went that were like super stellar. We did try to do the hike at Waimea Canyon, which if you look that up, that's like the thing to do in Hawaii. I think it's the number 1 attraction, but it was a little bit too rough for the children. They had a lot of parts closed off and there were tons of people who, were just going behind the barriers and so forth. But we went a little bit on the hike, and then when it started to get tough, we turned around. So that you could see nice views from like the lookout points though as well. So there was that. We did that. And then to say though, snorkeling, we went on a boat. It was like 5.5 hours. We had like a dinner cruise and all that, but you can do some snorkeling along the Nepali coast. And the Nepali coast is an area where you can't get to it unless you can't really see it unless you are looking from a helicopter or from a boat. So we basically got to see that by boat, and we did some snorkeling. I went in and my oldest daughter went in, and we were able to see a whole bunch of fish. This was our first time snorkeling. It was kind of like a really big deal. My oldest can swim, my youngest not so great. So, they aren't super strong yet. So it was definitely a little scary. But, I have to say everything was fantastic. I would definitely I have to look up and see what the name of this place was again. It was like Blue Dolphin, I think. Blue Dolphin Charters. Yeah, that was it. They were fantastic. I would by far use them again if we ever go back. And they do whale watching during the winter and so forth, which I would love to do. So that was awesome. But snorkeling in deep water was a little scary for for both of my daughters, but they both really wanted to see the wildlife. So we found a few beaches that are really kid friendly. This is the 24 from Sisley. And I just have a little bit of residual lip balm left. I'm testing out the new Sisley lip balm. The Sisley lip balm has always been my favorite. And they just redid it. And I've been trying to figure out what they changed. But it just arrived in the mail this morning. So I'm testing it a little bit. But anyway, we found a couple beaches that basically there's like a coral reef in front, so here's the beach and then you've got a coral reef here. So instead of the waves coming up to the beach, they stop at the reef. So this whole area then is very shallow, very calm, more like a pool. And so it's super kid friendly, especially for my youngest who was like terrified of waves. And she wasn't terrified before we got there, but unfortunately a wave went over her head shortly after we got there. So she was like, she wasn't having any of that. But anyway, those beaches were Anini, which was by far our favorite. That was awesome. And it's not that crowded. The thing about Kauai is it's a small island and there are beaches everywhere. So, you get in the car, you drive for 10 to 15 minutes, there's another beach and so forth. And because there are so many, I feel like none of them are super populous. So there was this one kid-friendly park called Lydgate, which it was actually designed by people for children. But that was so crowded, we ended up just leaving. And then Anini, it's like by far the best. And you can stand there and see the fish at your feet. It's very shallow. My daughter was able to you know, just snorkel there. And if she needed to, she could put her feet down. You know, there is coral reef on the ground, so you have to find a spot that doesn't have that. Don't step on the reefs. But it was great. And my youngest, who was too afraid to put her face in the water, she could stand there and like see the fish and turtles and stuff. We actually didn't get to see the turtles. We saw tortoises. I'll talk about that in a second, but we didn't get to see the sea turtles swimming, only because we didn't get to that part of the water in time before they kind of left. So this would be it for like my basic makeup. It's super light, super easy, but you know, in a beachy setting, I feel like you don't need much. So that's really it for the makeup. Just a little bit more I just wanted to share about my trip, and then we'll talk about this LED mask. Another kid-friendly beach was a salt pond. Not quite as nice as Anini, which is on the north part of the island, but Salt Pond was on the southern side, and it's very, like, that's great for like toddlers and so forth. But that was a little bit more populated, and it's a smaller area that was really calm. So I liked Anini better. And yeah, so those were kind of some highlights. And then just two other places, if you go to Kauai ever, definitely go to Queen's Bath. I think that is awesome. So if you look it up online, you know, it says it's closed. It's actually not closed. I guess there are certain parts that are closed, but Queen's Bath itself is not. You can go there. We went with the kids, and you know, I'm going to put some pictures here on the screen so you can see what it looks like. But it's just this really beautiful area. You're on top of all of these black rocks, and you can see this kind of like secluded area where, you know, people used to actually go in and kind of, I don't know if they actually took a bath to clean themselves, but they did go into this secluded area there. Now, this area can be very dangerous during certain times of the year, so definitely check that out before going, because the waves can actually like go over the rocks and everything that you're standing on, so you could be swept away. During the time that we were there, it was safe. So it's just a really cool place to look. I think that was probably the most picturesque place that we went on the whole trip. I absolutely loved that. Another one was, let's see here, I don't know how to say this, Makawahi Cave, which is just a short little day trip, and they have tortoises there as well. So that's where we saw our giant tortoises. You can get right up close. They have a little fencing around them, you know, to keep them safe from people. It's like a whole enclosure type thing, but you know, it was really cool. So the cave itself, it's like you park, it's like a 5-minute walk down to it, and you can actually crawl through it and get in. I actually ended up hitting my head, not going through the cave, but on something hanging down from the cave. But basically you can go through the cave. You're in this little open area here. It's really, really beautiful. It looks like you're inside a canyon. And then to get back out, you have to go back through the cave again. But it's like you have to stoop, but I could stoop and walk through. I didn't have to crawl. And they do have like this like cushiony like carpet type thing on the ground there if you do want to crawl and so forth. But small kids could walk through it. So it's not that low to the ground. It was just a really cute, really pretty place to go. And, you know, we did a lot of hiking. The girls were tired of walking. So it was nice to have something that we could see like that didn't require a lot of hiking to get to. So if you ever go, I would definitely check it out. You know, it's like maybe takes like 30 to 60 minutes of your time. So that was really nice. So as I mentioned, you know, the traveling aspect was terrible. So basically from going back home, we left, our flight was 7 in the morning, and, you know, Eastern time is 6 hours ahead of the Hawaiian time. So basically we had that time difference plus the traveling time. It is a long flight. So and we wore masks the entire time. So I had a mask on my face for 20 hours and I didn't eat during that time. Occasionally I'd lift it and put in like a gummy bear or something, but really I didn't have any meals on the way home. We got back to our house around 4 in the morning and I just felt gross and I could tell my face was starting to break out from having the mask on so long. Anytime my skin is feeling stressed or I'm starting to break out, different times of the month and so forth. Anytime something like that's happening or I just feel really dirty, the first thing I do is I wash my face just with a simple basic cleanser, and then I've been putting on this LED mask. So it comes in this big box. You get this. It also has like a bag that you can put this in. I could have brought this with me to Hawaii. You can definitely travel with this. It's a flexible silicone mask. You have this black strap here, which let me just take this off so you can show you here. But it is a black strap, but you've got the Velcro on here, but you can move the Velcro wherever you want. It's not like your old-fashioned Velcro where you have the soft patch and the rough patch and they have to match up there. It can go anywhere on here. So it makes it a little bit more customizable. And I found for me, wearing the mask to get the best fit, I like to put my hair in a bun and then I let it sit on top of here if I want to sit up. If I am just going to lie in bed during it, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to have the bun then. But if I'm sitting up and doing things, we have that. So I do have demos. I'm going to show you this. And I just want to tell you a little bit about this mask real quickly. And again, this portion of the video is sponsored and I do have a 20% off code if you are interested. It's down below in the description box and I'll leave it here on the screen as well. But I've been using this for several months. They sent me this back when the kids were still in school, so I know it's been a few months. But this is an LED face mask and this is using red and near infrared lights. So red light is supposed to stimulate the production of collagen, it calms your redness and creates an even skin tone. And the near infrared is going beneath the skin surface to boost your circulation, improve blood flow, and boost your oxygen to your skin cells. So this mask is using both of those at 633 nanometers and 830 nanometers. This here is silicone and it's clear so that you can really get the maximum light penetration to your skin. And according to CurrentBody, it says it's clinically proven to reduce wrinkles by 35% in 4 weeks. You are supposed to use it about 3 times a week to get that. And it has won so many beauty awards. So I've always wanted to try one of these masks and I was actually looking for one when they offered to send this to me. So, really happy that they sent this. Thank you. But anyway, as you age, your skin can lose 20 to 80% of its thickness. So I'm trying to prevent that now. I just turned 41 and this device here is actually made with the same directives as a medical grade device. And it's the same stuff that you would get in a professional salon. Now, one of the things I think is different from salon, because I have gotten salon LED treatments in the past, I believe those probably have more lights and, but the like intensity and so forth for each particular diode there should be about the same. So this mask, you want to make sure that it's clean so you can wipe it with like an alcohol wipe or just wash it with some soap and water because you want to make sure you don't have any film or anything on this when you're using it. And you can also use, CurrentBody has skincare as well. So they have a green tea serum that they recommend and a hydrogel mask that you can use. You can put those on before using the mask to kind of boost the effects of the mask. Or what I do is I just use it on clean skin directly and then I put my skincare on afterwards and I think that is sufficient. So that, either of those ways are definitely recommended ways to use it and they do recommend using it 3 to 5 times a week. And as I mentioned, I'm terrible about using things frequently, especially during the summer while the kids are staying up later. Because I'm doing all the bedtime stuff and everything. So I've been once to twice a week. So I am going to be using it more. And this demo here, I did use 3 days in a row so you can see it. So let me go ahead and cut to the demo. We're going to take a close look at my skin. It is freshly washed with no moisturizer, serums, or anything on. So just soap and then water. Let's take a look. All right, so then we're going to take the mask. You can see the lights on this side. This is the little head strap. I just leave mine attached, and I put this on like this. I hold it for a second while I take the rest of this strap. I loop it through here. And then it's got like Velcro on it, and I just hook it on, and then I just adjust it to how it's comfortable. Make sure this is around my nose, my eyes, and I usually just lie back on my bed and let this thing go. So to turn it on, you can see there's a button here. If you just press it, nothing happens. You have to hold it down for about 2 seconds, and then it goes on. So after 10 minutes, it beeps and the light goes off, and then we can take it off. Now, I usually lie down and keep my eyes closed and just use that time to kind of relax. But today I was trying really hard to declutter some lipsticks, but I didn't get very far. So it's hard. I don't think I can actually declutter them yet. So we'll see. But anyway, I put the mask on pretty tightly just to make sure nothing slides off since I'm sitting up and so forth. So you can see, you know, maybe there are a few little marks on my face from that. That'll fade in like a couple minutes. But let me show you a close-up of what it looks like now. And then I'll show you a close-up of what it looks like in the morning, because I feel like my skin always looks even better a little bit like the next morning. So let me zoom you in. So after I finish with the mask, what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go and add my nightly skincare. I keep it really basic after using the mask. I mean, you don't have to. You can go ahead with any like treatments or anything that you would normally do. But most nights I keep my skincare pretty basic, and I'll just add like a serum and a moisturizer, or I'll just use the Ray Trouvé eye serum and the intensive moisturizer. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going to add a little bit of the 2 Ray Trouvé products on, and that's going to be it. And then I'll show you my skin in the morning. And this is the next morning. I've literally done nothing. I just got in bed. So, you know, residual skincare is still on my skin. And let's take a closer look. So let me know what you think. But one of the things that I look at is clearing up like for example, the pores around my nose and so forth. So if you notice in the original, I had some pores that looked like they were getting clogged. They were a little bit bumpy and so forth. And they just look much cleaner and brighter today. And yeah, that's kind of like my focus point for like a day-to-day use of the mask. And we're going to take a look next at what it looks like after using this consecutively for a few days. Now we're going to look at my skin up close after having used the mask 3 days in a row. And right now it is about half an hour to 45 minutes since I finished using the mask. I have not added any skincare or anything to my skin since that time. So after I film this, then I'll be adding my nighttime skincare. But this is just what my face looks like after the mask. And let me bring you in closer. Right, and I've been playing with the lighting in this room, so I think this might be a little bit brighter than when I filmed it the other day. So I'm just going to put it back to the original lighting settings so everything is exactly the same conditions as it was in the before shot. All right, so this is how my skin has looked after 3 consecutive uses of it. And I just want to mention that in regards to skincare products during this time period, I kept my skincare nice and simple. I did not use any like serums or retinols or anything during these few days, just so you can see, just what happens with I used just basic moisturizer and a vitamin C serum in the mornings, but that's it for the last few days. So there are definitely no other products that would be interacting with these particular effects. So let me know what you think. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. So I would love to know what you think and what effects you can see in my skin from this mask. For me personally, I think the biggest thing that I notice is that my skin always looks clearer and brighter the next day after using this. And I do feel like, although I haven't eliminated any wrinkles, I also haven't used it as frequently as I should. I have noticed that after using them, they just look like my skin looks a little plumper, so they're not as noticeable. So I do think that continued use with this should helpfully show some more effects. Now, I personally believe that once a wrinkle's there, it's always there. It's never going to be permanently gone, but using this on a regular basis can definitely hide the effects of wrinkles and reduce the appearance of wrinkles. So, just like if you're using like something with like microcurrent or something like that, which I've tried before, but honestly, I can't get myself to use that on a regular basis. The mask, however, is definitely something I can keep up with. And, I'm really happy with this. I have to say, I used to have terrible skin when I was younger, really bad acne. And I wish they had had these masks around at that time. It's definitely the route that I would have gone. I think LED masks are just like the way to go, and I'm really happy with it. So again, your miles may vary, but for me, I'm very happy with the LED mask. I think the effects are worth it, and for only 10 minutes of something non-invasive, something really easy to use, I'm very happy with it. My problem with microcurrent and things like that is you know, if you don't use enough gel, it can hurt and so forth. This, it never hurts. So very happy with it. And again, thanks so much to CurrentBody for sending me this mask and for sponsoring this portion of the video. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to know what you guys think. Have you gone to Kauai? What do you think of my trip, my highlights? Is it a place you would like to go in the future? And let me know what you think about the mask. So I would love to see your comments down below, and I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day.